Hello everyone and welcome back to Dazza Sports YouTube channel, and today we are reviewing part 2 of round 1 of the NRL 2026. Now, as you know, last week was part 1, which was the Las Vegas game. We saw 2 games, and then this past weekend was part 2, round 1 of NRL National Rugby League, and today we're going to be reviewing part 2. So don't forget to sit back, relax, subscribe, smash the like button, get some snacks, because we're about to dive all right into this. Now, we saw some interesting games, of course, as we saw my New Zealand Warriors getting the dub on Friday, being the Sydney Roosters. We bet those Chooks, man. We bet the Sydney Roosters. It was such a pleasuring win. It was just an absolute win. We saw the Raiders Golden Point win, drop goal to beat Manly. We saw the Parramatta Eels and the Titans getting smashed by 50 points more. So, yeah, so let's dive straight into this. So, on Thursday night was the Melbourne Storm versus Parramatta Eels. Now, this was such a tight game. Well, it wasn't a tight game indeed. It was not. I'm lying, jokes aside. The Eels got absolutely destroyed by the Melbourne Storm, 52 points to 4. Not a great day to be an Eels fan. Not a great weekend to be an Eels fan. And thank God I'm not an Eels fan. So, hooray. So, this is how the game went. So, 1 minute into the game, Hopgood from Parramatta Eels got a sin bin and he went on report. So, basically, Parramatta were down to 12 men for the next 10 minutes. Then, in the 5th minute, Russell scores a try for the Storm with Moses. So Russell scores a try for Parramatta, not the Storm, Parramatta. In the 5th minute, Russell scores a try with Moses missing the conversion. So Parramatta, with a man in the bin, lead 4-0 against the Melbourne Storm. So basically, that was the only momentum for Parramatta in the game. The rest of the momentum for the rest of the game was all Melbourne Storm, because the momentum for the Melbourne Storm for the rest of the game started in the 11th minute when Warbrick scores a try for the Storm with Nick Meaney getting the conversion over. So 6-4 to the Melbourne Storm. And right when Melbourne scored that try, the momentum was just all Melbourne Storm for the rest of the game. And then in the 16th minute, Grant scores a try for Melbourne with Meaney going 2 for 2 with conversions. 12-4 Melbourne lead over Parramatta. Then 10 minutes later, Howarth scores a try for the Melbourne Storm in the 27th minute with Meaney getting the conversion over. So it's 18-4 Melbourne. So Melbourne, Parramatta were under pressure. So at halftime, Melbourne leading 18-4 against Parramatta. So basically, Melbourne leading by 14 points. Then the second half, the Eels just got destroyed in the second half, because in the 47th minute, Chan scores a try from Melbourne with Meaney getting the conversion over to make it 24-4. So with 30 minutes left in this game, Melbourne were leading by 20, and Parramatta were on a whole lot of pressure now. They were just a whole lot on pressure now. And then in the 51st minute, Grant scores his second try from Melbourne with Meaney getting the conversion over to make it 30 points to 4. So it was looking more and more likely Melbourne were going to win the game. And then Moses Leo scores a try for the Melbourne Storm with Nick Meaney getting conversion over to make it 36-4. And then the 64th minute, Falango scores a try for the Melbourne Storm with the conversion being good. So now Melbourne leading 42 points to 4. So Melbourne were definitely going to win this game with 15 minutes to go. Then in the 67th minute, Simonson gets a sin bin, Parramatta, and he got a sin bin. So basically, Parramatta were down to 12 men for the next 10 minutes. Then with that, in the 67th minute, Lasati scores a try for Melbourne with Nick Meaney missing the conversion. So it's now 46-4 Melbourne. So Melbourne, could they hit 50 before the end of the game? And yes, they did. In the 70th minute, Falongo, sorry if I mispronounced this game, scores his second try of the game with Meaney getting conversion over with the Melbourne Storm absolute smashing the Parramatta Eels 52 points to 4. So basically, Eels fans did not have a great weekend. But guess what? Who had a good weekend? Yes, my team, the New Zealand Warriors, as the next match was the New Zealand Warriors versus the Roosters. Now, the Roosters, they were the favourites to win this game. But guess what? the Warriors faithful, the Warriors players, the Warriors fans proved them wrong. And the Warriors, my New Zealand Warriors, smashing the Sydney Roosters 42 points to 18 on Friday night. What a game it was indeed. So this is how the game went. So 12 minutes into the game, Tanner Boyd scores a try for my team, the Warriors, with the conversion good to make it 6-0 to the Waratahs. So Tanner Boyd converting his own try to make it 6-0. Then in the 17th minute, James Tedesco scores a try with Sam Walker getting conversion over. So 20 minutes gone in this game, it was leveled 6-all. Then in the 21st minute, Tanner Boyd goes for the penalty kick for the Warriors. So basically, the Warriors got a penalty, and they went for the penalty kick, and Tanner Boyd misses the penalty, so the score remains 6-6. And then in the 23rd minute, Sydney Roosters scored a try, but then the ref went to the TMO and it was changed to a no try, so the score remains 6-all. Then in the 25th minute, Adam Pompey scores a try for the Warriors with Tanner Boyd missing the conversion. So basically, the Warriors take back their lead 10 points to 6. Then 5 minutes later, Kurt Capewell scores a try for the Warriors to extend their lead 16-6 with the conversion going good. And then just before halftime in the 35th minute, Chanel Harris-Davida scores a try for the Warriors with Tanner Boyd getting the conversion over to make it 22-6 to the Warriors at halftime. What a first half by the Warriors. That was very unexpected by the Warriors, I think, for most NRL fans. And then second half got underway, and in the 40th minute, Sydney Roosters scored a try, but ref went to a TMO and it was changed to a no try. So that was the second no try for Sydney in that game. Then in the 47th minute, Leka Halasima. In the 47th minute, Leka Halasima, who just came on the park, scores a try. So basically, Leka Halasima got subbed onto the park, and he gets a try on his first. I think it was the first play or somewhere anyway, Leka Halasima went on the park and he scores a try just then and now. Leka Halasima scores a Tanner Boyd getting the conversion over to the Warriors, running away with this 28-6 with 30 minutes to go. And it was looking more and more likely the Warriors were going to win. And then Smith scores a try for Sydney with Walker getting conversion over. So it's now 28-12. So now Sydney sort of cut this lead down, but the pressure was still on Sydney. But then in the 58th minute, Crichton scores another try for the Sydney Roosters. So basically in 6 minutes, the Sydney were able to score 2 tries with the conversion successful. So now Sydney cut this lead down to 28-18. So basically, Sydney scored 2 tries in 6 minutes. So basically, Sydney was sort of back in this game. But then in the 61st minute, Warriors get a penalty, and Tanner Boyd gets the penalty over to make it 30 points to 18. Then in the 76th minute, Chanel Harris-Davida scores the second try for the Warriors with conversion good, 36-18. And then just before the end of the game, Nicole Cookstar scores a try for the Warriors with the conversion going over. So the Warriors thumping the Sydney Roosters 42 points to 18. What a game it was indeed. My Warriors getting the job done. Let's go, baby. Warriors start the season 1-0. Sydney go 0-1. Then the next game after that was for the Friday night doubleheader was the defending champions, the Brisbane Broncos, the most talented Brisbane Broncos, against the Penrith Panthers. And guess what? The defending champions lost. The defending champions lost against the Panthers 26 points to 0. The Panthers beating the Broncos. So this is how the game went. So in the 6th minute, Penrith scored a try with McLean getting the try for the Penrith Panthers with Cleary missing the conversion. So it's basically 4-0 to Penrith. Then in the 20th minute, Dylan Edwards scores a try for the Penrith Panthers, plus Nick Cleary gets a conversion over. So basically, Penrith are leading 10-0 with 20 minutes gone in this game. And then in the 32nd minute, Panthers get a penalty. Nick Cleary goes for it, and he gets it over. So now Penrith extend the lead to 12 points to 8. And then just before halftime, in the 40th minute, Jenkins scores a try for the Penrith Panthers with the conversion good. So it's now 18. The halftime score was 18-0 to the Panthers over the Brisbane Broncos. And man, bad first half from the Broncos. Just absolute terrible first half. And then the second half got underway. Nothing really changed. The Broncos did terrible in the second half as well, with lots of knock-ons and errors and penalties going the way of the Panthers. But nothing really happened in the second half except for like two things, where is in the 60th minute, Panthers get a penalty. Cleary gets it over to make it 20-0 to the Panthers. And then just before the end of the game, 76th minute, Jenkins scores a try, scores a second try for the Panthers, back-to-back tries with Cleary in conversion over. So the Panthers beating the Broncos 26-0, 26-0, the final score. So basically, yep, the Broncos, the defending champs Broncos lose. I mean, the Broncos, they look pretty terrible in this game. They kept on losing the ball, I swear. They kept on losing the ball at every moment. It was such a drag to watch. It was a pretty boring game because it was a one-sided game. But the Broncos looked absolutely terrible. I mean, Payne Haas, a few of the Broncos players had good run meters, like Payne Haas and stuff. But like the Broncos, they just looked absolutely terrible. But anyway, Panthers getting the win. Then we move on to the Saturday games, and guess what? The Titans are totally going to win the comp. Well, guess what? They're probably not going to win the comp, with the Sharks beating the Titans 50 points to 10. Sharks winning by 40 points. What a game it was indeed. So this is how the game went. So 2 minutes into the game, Kennedy scores a try for the Cronulla Sharks, with Nico Hines getting conversion over. So it's now 6-0 to Cronulla over the Gold Coast Titans. Then in the 10th minute, Neil Corday scores a try for Cronulla, with Nico Hines getting conversion over. So it's now 12-0 to Cronulla over the Gold Coast Titans. Then in the 20th minute, Raymond scores a try for Kamala, with Nico Hines missing the conversion. So it's now 16-0 to the Cronulla Sharks. And then 2 minutes later, the Sharks score another try. So the Sharks, they were just running away with this game. Like, they were just running away from the first whistle. They were just running away with this. So basically, Trindle scores a try for Cronulla, with Nico Hines getting the conversion over. So it's now 20-0 Cronulla. And then 8 minutes later, Trindle scores a second try for Cronulla in this game, with Nico Hines getting the conversion over. So it's now 28-0 to the Titans. And then in the 39th minute, just before halftime, Nico Hines gets a try, with Nico Hines converting his own try, with Cronulla Sharks smashing the Gold Coast Titans at halftime 34-0. Like, man, the Titans, Jay, just looked terrible, man. Like, from the first whistle, the Sharks were just rolling the Titans. And then the second half got underway, and 3 minutes into the second half, Raymond scores his second try for the Sharks in this game, with Nico Hines getting conversion over. So now Cronulla hit 40 points. They were leading by 40 points, 40-0. But then for the next 10 minutes, Gold Coast Titans were able to score 2 tries, because in the 49th minute, Verrills scores a try for the Gold Coast Titans, with Elias, sorry if I mispronounced this game, getting the conversion over. So it's now 46. And then about 5 minutes later, the Gold Coast Titans debut, Fangamani, scores a try for the Titans, with the conversion being missed. So basically, the Titans now trail by 30 points, 40-10 Cronulla leading. And then nothing really happened for the next 15 minutes. And then in the 71st minute, Katoa scores a try for the Sharks, but Nico Hines missed the conversion, so it's now 44-10. So now the Sharks were 6 points away from hitting 50 points. And then in the 77th minute, Nico Hines scores a try, his second try of the game, near the end of the match. So basically, the funny thing is, Nico Hines scored a last minute try near the end of the first half, and he also did it a second time in the second half. Nico Hines scoring a last minute try like he did in the first half, with him converting his own conversion. So the Sharks hitting 50, the Sharks beating the Titans 50 points to 10, the final score. What an absolute demolishing. Then we move on to what was probably the best crowd of the round and the best game of the round. What a game this was indeed. The Sea Eagles beating the Raiders 20. No, sorry. What am I saying? What am I actually saying? Sorry. The Raiders beating the Sea Eagles 29-28 in Golden Point. This was definitely by far the game of the round. Like, it was just incredible to watch from start to finish. It was just absolutely insane. The crowd was loud. It was just an amazing game to watch. So this is how the game went. So in the 4th minute, Trbojevic scores a try for Manly with Fogarty getting the conversion over. So it's now 6-0 Manly. Then 6 minutes later in the 10th minute, Fogarty scores, gets a penalty over to make it 8-0. So now Manly were leading by 8 with 10 minutes gone in this game. Then the 17th minute, Aloka Atu, sorry if I mispronounced his name, scores a try with Fogarty getting conversion over. So now with 18 minutes gone in this game, Manly were having a good lead of 14-0. And then in the 20th minute, Martin scores a try for the Raiders with Sanders getting conversion over. So basically, the halftime score was 14-6 to the Sea Eagles against the Raiders by 8 points. What an interesting first half from the Manly Seagulls and the Raiders. But then the second half was probably more entertaining than the first half because the Raiders, for the most part, for like I would say like the first 20 minutes of the second half, Canterbury were just looking good because they scored three tries in like the first 20 minutes of the second half. Because in the 46th minute, Martin scores the second try for the Raiders with Sanders getting the conversion over. So basically, the Raiders cut down this lead 14-12. Then in the 49th minute, Xavier Savage scores his first try of the game with Sanders getting the conversion over. So now Canberra leading 18 points to 14. And then 4 minutes later, Xavier Savage scores back-to-back tries with Sanders missing the conversion. So basically, it was 22-14 to the Raiders. Now, just remember, earlier on in the first half, Manly were leading 14-0, but Raiders, from being trailing 14-0, are now leading 28 points to 14. The Raiders were trailing 14-0, but now they're leading by 14 points. But then in the last 20 minutes, I would say it was just all Manly because in the 68th minute, Sanders scores a try for the Raiders with Sanders converting his own um Sanders getting the scoring a try with Sanders getting the conversion over. So it's 28-14. So basically, the Raiders scored 3 tries in the first 20 minutes by Martin 2 from Savage and 1 by Sanders. And I'd say maybe not the last 20 minutes, but like the last 10 minutes, I would say was all Manly because Manly come back in the last 70 minutes because they were trailing by 14 points. But in the 74th minute, Kula, sorry if I mispronounced his name, scores a try for Manly with Fogarty getting the conversion over. So basically, Manly were now only trailing by 8 points with 5 minutes to go. So they would need to score another quick try. And guess what? They did. Fogarty scoring his second. Was it the second try of the game? Trying to remember. Sorry, no. It's Fogarty scoring the try to make it 28-24 with conversion good by himself. 28-26 now. Manly were right back in this game, and then in the 80th minute, Manly get a penalty, and Fogarty gets the penalty over to make it 28 all. That's just incredible. What a game it was indeed. And then in Golden Point came underway, and 2 minutes into Golden Point, Sanders goes for the drop goal and gets it over for the Raiders to beat the Manly Seagulls 29-28. Arguably the game of the round. It was just incredible. The crowd was electric. It was just incredible. But the Raiders getting the job done. And then the final game of the round was yesterday, Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, which was the Dolphins taking on the Rabbitohs. Now, this was a high-scoring game because the Rabbitohs beating the Dolphins 40 points to 13. The South Sydney Rabbitohs, the away team, crushing or like destroying the home team 40 points to 13. Not say destroying, but in effect, like they destroyed the home face, but not actually destroyed. I don't know. Like another word, they like beat the home team. So that's how the game went. So the game got underway, and in the 3rd minute, Graham scores a try with Mitchell missing with Mitchell missing the conversion. So it's now 4-0 to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. So it was 4-0. The score was in this game, and then 7 minutes later, Avrilo scores a try for the Dolphins with Isako missing the conversion. So it's now 4-4. 11 minutes gone. It was 4-4 between the Dolphins and the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Then 5 minutes later, in the 15th minute, Latrell Mitchell gets a try and gets his own conversion over for the Souths to take back their lead 10 points to 4. Then in the 23rd minute, the Sydney Rabbitohs get a penalty, and Mitchell goes for the penalty, and he gets it over for South to extend their lead by 8 points, 12-4. And then in the 26th minute, Fine Fuaki scores a try. Finney Fuaki, in the 26th minute, scores a try for the Dolphins with Asako getting the conversion over. So basically, the Dolphins now only trail by 2 points, 12 points to 10. Sydney leading over Dolphins. Then in the 33rd minute, Graham scores a try for the Roosters. The Rabbitohs, with Mitchell getting the conversion over. So it's now 18 points to 10, the Rabbitohs leading over the Dolphins. Then in the 36th minute, Gray getting a try with Mitchell getting it over to make it 24-10. So South were leading by 14 points with 4 minutes to go. And in the 40th minute, just before halftime, Johnson scores a try for the Rabbitohs with Mitchell missing the conversion. So basically, the South Sydney Rabbitohs leading by 18 points, 28-10. Like that last 10 minutes of the first half, we saw 3 tries in the last 10 minutes of the first try of the first half by the Rabbitohs. Then in the second half, the Dolphins sort of made a comeback in the second half, whereas in the 52nd minute, Farnworth scores a try for the Dolphins with Asako getting the conversion over to make it 28-6. And so now Dolphins cut the trail down to 12 points. Then 3 minutes later, Tobias Fidel scores a try with Osaka getting the conversion over. So basically, the Dolphins are now only trailing by 6 points. Then, in the 61st minute, Hubner scores a try for this Rabbitohs with Mitchell getting the conversion over to make it 34-22. So basically, the Rabbitohs extend their lead to a 12-point lead. So the pressure was now back on the Dolphins. In the 68th minute, Latrell Mitchell scores the second try of the game, which basically sealed the win for the Rabbitohs. 40 points to 22, South Sydney Rabbitohs leading over the Dolphins with 10 minutes to play. And then in the 72nd minute, Dolphins player Gilbert and Sydney and the Rabbitohs players. So basically, in the 72nd minute, Dolphins player Gilbert and Rabbitohs player David Fafita both get a yellow card. So basically, both teams get a yellow card, and basically both teams are down to 12 men for the rest of the game. Then the 72nd minute, Rabbitohs went for a penalty, but Latrell Mitchell misses it. So the score remained 40-22. And then with 2 minutes to play in the 78th minute, Asako scores a try for the Dolphins, with him converting his own try to make it 40-28. And then just before the game ended in the 80th minute, Dolphins get a penalty, and Asako goes for it, and he gets it over. So it's now 40-30. So the final score, the South Sydney Rabbitohs beating the Dolphins 40 points to 13. So basically, guys, that was part 2 of round 1. So some extremely extraordinary matches. But this is how the ladder looks like. So this is how the ladder looks like after round 1. So in first place, we got the Storm. In second, we got the Sharks. In third, we got the Panthers. In fourth, we got the Warriors. In fifth, we got the Knights. In sixth, we got the Rabbitohs. In seventh, we got the Bulldogs. And eighth, we got the Raiders. In ninth, we got the West Tigers. In 10th, we got Dragons and Sea Eagles. In 12th, we got the Dolphins and the Cowboys. In 14th, we got the Roosters. In 15th, we got the Broncos. In 16th, we got the Titans. In 17th, we got the Eels. So basically, what a round 1 of part 2 of footy. We saw round 2 is next Thursday. Can't wait for round 2. But anyway, guys, thanks everyone so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, smash the like button for more footy content. But yeah, what a round 1 it was. Just round 1 was just absolutely exciting. Like literally, I just loved round 1. Round 1 was just absolutely brilliant. But anyway, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And as always, up the wires.